Look around you. Every single person in this room has encountered them. Those rare individuals who walk into a space and command attention without saying a word. The ones who speak and everyone leans in to listen. The ones who lead and others naturally follow. What makes them different? What invisible force causes people to treat them like leaders? You've asked yourself this question, haven't you? Maybe while watching someone younger than you get promoted faster. Maybe while observing a colleague with less experience being sought out for advice. Maybe while wondering why some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, while others remain invisible. The answer isn't what you think. It's not their education. Plenty of highly educated people get ignored. It's not their position. We've all seen managers who can't lead. It's not their talent. History is filled with gifted individuals who never reach their potential. The truth is both simpler and more profound. People treat you like a leader when you embody specific behaviors that trigger automatic respect in the human brain. When you consistently demonstrate these behaviors, people can't help but see you as a leader. It's hardwired into our psychology. Think about the last time you automatically treated someone like a leader. Not because they demanded it, but because something about them commanded it. What did they do differently? How did they carry themselves? What subtle signals did they send that your brain instantly recognized as leadership material? Today, I'm going to reveal these behaviors to you, not just describe them. We're going to understand them at such a deep level that you'll never look at leadership the same way again. More importantly, you'll never look at yourself the same way again. But first, we need to address the greatest myth about leadership, that it's something you're born with. This lie has kept millions of potential leaders trapped in mediocrity. I'm not a natural leader, they tell themselves. I don't have the leadership gene. Let me be clear, it's not in your DNA, it's in your decisions. Every person who's ever been treated like a leader learned specific behaviors that triggered respect in others. And if they could learn these behaviors, so can you. Consider the behavior that makes people treat you like a leader can be developed. Every single one, just like you learn to walk, talk, and read, you can learn to demonstrate the behaviors that command respect and inspire followership. The key word here is demonstrate. Because leadership isn't about what you claim, it's about what you demonstrate. It's not about what you say you'll do, it's about what you consistently do. It's not about the potential you have. Let me share something powerful with you. In every organization, there are two types of leaders. The first type has a leadership position but struggles to get people to follow them. The second type has no official title but has people constantly seeking their guidance and support. The difference? The first type was given a position. The second type mastered the behaviors we're about to discuss. The first type has authority on paper. The second type has influence in reality. When you master these behaviors, something remarkable happens. People start treating you differently. They begin to seek your opinion more often. They start to include you in important discussions. They naturally turn to you during challenges, not because you demanded these things, but because your behaviors commanded them. But here's what most people don't understand. These leadership behaviors aren't about manipulation or playing politics. They're about becoming the kind of person others genuinely want to follow. They're about developing qualities that add value to others' lives. The first and most fundamental behavior is this leaders take absolute ownership of their environment, not selective ownership, absolute ownership. When most people see a problem, they point it out. When leaders see a problem, they begin solving it. When most people experience a setback, they look for someone to blame. When leaders experience a setback, they look for solutions to implement. This ownership mentality changes everything. It changes how people perceive you. It changes how they respond to you. Most importantly, it changes how they treat you. Think about someone who consistently takes ownership in your organization. How do people treat them? They trust them with more responsibility. They seek their input on important decisions. They respect their opinion even when they disagree. Why? Because taking ownership is a behavior that triggers automatic respect in others. It's one of the fundamental behaviors that makes people treat you like a leader. When you consistently demonstrate this behavior, people can't help but see you as leadership material. But here's the challenge. Taking ownership means accepting responsibility, not just for your actions, but for your environment. It means no more blaming circumstances, no more waiting for someone else to fix problems, no more complaining about what's wrong without proposing solutions. Are you ready for that level of responsibility? Are you prepared to be the person who says, I'll handle it, instead of someone should do something about that? Are you willing to be the one who steps up when others step back? Because that's what leaders do. And that's just the first behavior we're going to master today. There are several more equally powerful behaviors that when combined create an unstoppable leadership presence. These behaviors aren't theoretical. They're not philosophical. They're practical, observable actions that you can begin implementing today. Actions that will fundamentally change how people respond to you, how they treat you, and how they view your leadership potential. The question isn't whether these behaviors work. History has proven they do. The question is, are you ready to master them? Are you prepared to become the kind of person others naturally treat as a leader? Because by the time we finish here today, you'll know exactly what these behaviors are. You'll understand why they work. Most importantly, you'll know how to implement them in your daily life until they become as natural as breathing. Let's talk about the second behavior that makes people automatically treat you like a leader. You must master the art of decisive action. Notice I didn't say perfect action. I said decisive action. There's a crucial difference that most people never understand. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait for complete information. They wait for absolute certainty. And while they're waiting, true leaders are taking action, learning, adjusting, and moving forward. In every organization, in every community, in every situation, there are two types of people: those who wait for clarity and those who create clarity. Those who wait for direction and those who set direction. Those who ask, what should we do? And those who say, here's what we can do. Which one are you? Because here's the truth that most people never grasp. Clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from action. Movement creates momentum. Momentum creates opportunities, create results. Think about the last time you faced uncertainty. What did you do? Did you wait for someone else to make the first move? Did you hide behind phrases like we need more information or let's wait and see? Or did you step forward and say, here's what I think we should do? Your answer to that question reveals whether people currently treat you like a leader or like a follower. Because leaders don't wait for perfect conditions, they act on available information. They don't wait for guaranteed success. They move forward with calculated risks. That's something even more important about decisive action. It creates certainty in others. When you move decisively, you give others confidence to move. When you act with conviction, you give others permission to act. When you take the first step, you make it easier for others to follow. This brings us to the third behavior that makes people treat you like a leader. You must become a master of creating clarity in chaos. In times of confusion, leaders don't add to the noise. They provide direction. In times of uncertainty, they don't spread panic. They spread perspective. In times of difficulty, they don't focus on problems. They focus on possibilities. Let me share something profound with you. The most valuable currency in today's world isn't money. It's clarity. When everyone is confused, the person who can provide clarity becomes invaluable. When everyone is uncertain, the person who can provide direction becomes indispensable. But here's what most people don't understand about creating clarity. It's not about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions. It's about helping others think clearly when emotions are running high. It's about maintaining perspective when others are losing theirs. Consider this: in every crisis, in every challenge, in every difficult situation, there are two types of people. The first type adds to the confusion by focusing on everything that could go wrong. The second type creates clarity by focusing on what needs to be done right now. What type are you? Because people naturally treat the second type like leaders. They gravitate toward those who can help them make sense of chaos. They respect those who can maintain composure when everything seems to be falling apart. This brings us to the fourth behavior. You must become exceptional at building trust through consistent character. Notice I didn't say building trust through charisma. I didn't say building trust through credentials. I said building trust through consistent character. Because while charisma can attract people, only character can keep them. While credentials can impress people, only character can inspire them. Is what people don't understand about trust. It's not built in big moments. It's built in small moments. It's built when you do what you say you'll do. It's built when you arrive when you say you'll arrive. It's built when you deliver what you promise to deliver. Think about the people you trust most. How did they earn that trust? Was it through grand gestures, or was it through consistent, reliable behavior over time? This consistency is what makes people treat you like a leader. Because when your words and actions align consistently, people can't help but respect you. When your behavior matches your values consistently, people can't help but trust you. But here's the challenge. Consistency isn't exciting. It's not flashy. It doesn't get attention or headlines. It's about doing the right thing day after day, especially when no one is watching. Are you willing to be that consistent? Are you willing to do what needs to be done? Not just when you feel like it, but every single time? Are you willing to hold yourself to a higher standard, not just when it's convenient, but always? Because that's what leaders do. That's why people treat them like leaders. Not because they're perfect, but because they're predictable in their commitment to excellence. This brings us to the fifth behavior. You must master the art of elevating others. Here's a truth that will transform how people treat. Your power as a leader isn't measured by how high you can climb. It's measured by how many people you can lift. Those people focus on elevating themselves. They chase titles, they pursue recognition, they seek validation. But true leaders, they focus on elevating others, they create opportunities, they share recognition, they give away credit. Think about the last time someone believed in you before you believed in yourself. Think about the last time someone saw potential in you that you couldn't see. Think about the last time someone gave you an opportunity you didn't think you were ready for. How did that make you feel about them? How did that change how you treated them? Because here's what happens when you consistently elevate others. They don't just follow you, they champion you. They don't just respect you, they advocate for you. They don't just work with you, they work for your success. But here's what most people don't understand about elevating others. It's not about being nice. It's about being invested. It's not about making people feel good. It's about making people grow. It's not about avoiding difficult conversations. It's about having them in a way that builds people up instead of tearing them down. Consider them. Every interaction, you have a choice. You can focus on proving your own value, or you can focus on bringing out the value in others. You can focus on showcasing your own abilities, or you can focus on developing abilities in others. Which choice makes people treat you like a leader? Because when you consistently choose to elevate others, something remarkable happens. People don't just work for you. They work to live up to the potential you see in them. They don't just follow your direction. They pursue your vision. They don't just do their jobs. They fulfill their purpose. This is the power of becoming someone who elevates others. It's not just about what you do. It's about what you inspire others to do. It's not just about who you are. It's about who others become because of your influence. The sixth behavior that makes people treat you like a leader goes against everything society has taught you about success. It's called embracing productive discomfort. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They stay in their comfort zones. They stick to what they know. They do what's easy. But here's the truth. No one ever became a leader by staying comfortable. Every single person who's ever been treated as a leader had to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. They had to learn to embrace the challenges that make others retreat. They had to learn to step forward when others stepped back. Think about it. Every significant growth in your life came through discomfort. You learned to walk by falling down. You learned to read by struggling with words. You learned to succeed by failing first. Discomfort isn't the enemy of growth. It's the price of growth. But here's what separates leaders from everyone else. They don't just endure discomfort. They seek it out. They don't just accept challenges. They pursue them. They don't just deal with difficult situations. They use them as opportunities to grow. When was the last time you deliberately put yourself in a situation that made you uncomfortable? When was the last time you volunteered for a project that scared you? When was the last time you spoke up when staying silent would have been easier? Your answer reveals whether people treat you like a leader or like someone avoiding responsibility. Because leaders understand that their comfort zone and their growth zone never overlap. They understand that their influence grows in direct proportion to their willingness to embrace discomfort. This brings us to the seventh behavior. You must master the art of strategic presence. Most people think presence is about being seen, but true leadership presence is about being remembered. It's not about making noise. It's about making impact. It's not about demanding attention. It's about deserving attention. Here's what most people don't understand about presence. It's not about how much you speak. It's about how much weight your words carry. It's not about how often you're seen. It's about how much value you bring when you are seen. Think about someone whose presence you respect. What makes them different? Is it how much they talk? Or is it how much wisdom they share when they do talk? Is it how often they're seen? Or is it how much impact they make when they are seen? Strategic presence means knowing when to step forward and when to step back. It means knowing when to speak and when to listen. It means knowing when to lead from the front and when to lead from behind. But here's the challenge. A strategic presence requires tremendous self-control. It requires the discipline to hold back when others are rushing forward. It requires the wisdom to speak last when others are competing to speak first. It requires the confidence to be silent when others are filling the air with words. Are you ready for that level of self-control? Are you prepared to measure your words not by how many you speak, but by how much impact they create? Are you willing to judge your presence not by how often you're seen, but by how much value you bring? Because that's what makes people treat you like a leader. They respect someone who speaks with purpose rather than just to be heard. They follow someone who moves with intention rather than just to be seen. This brings us to the eighth behavior. You must become a master of emotional intelligence in action. Notice I didn't say emotional intelligence in theory. I said emotional intelligence in action, because understanding emotions isn't enough. You must be able to navigate them, especially under pressure. This is what most people never grasp. Leadership isn't just about managing tasks. It's about managing energy. It's not just about directing actions. It's about directing emotions. It's not just about achieving goals. It's about maintaining morale while achieving those goals. Think about the last time you were in a high-pressure situation. How did you handle the emotions in the room? Did you add to the tension or help release it? Did you fuel the panic or help calm it? Did you focus on the problem or help others focus on the solution? Because here's the truth. People don't just follow your instructions. They follow your emotional lead. They don't just watch what you do. They watch how you do it. They don't just listen to what you say. They feel how you say it. This emotional intelligence in action means staying calm when others are panicking. It means maintaining perspective when others are losing theirs. It means responding thoughtfully when others are reacting emotionally. But here's what most people don't understand about emotional intelligence. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about channeling them. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally stable. It's not about avoiding difficult feelings. It's about processing them productively. Consider, in every challenging situation, there are three types of people. The first type gets overwhelmed by emotions. The second type suppresses emotions. The third type channels emotions into productive action. Which type are you? because people naturally treat the third type like leaders. They trust those who can acknowledge emotions without being controlled by them. They respect those who can maintain their composure without losing their humanity. This brings us to the 9th behavior. You must master the art of creating value before. Most people focus on what they can get. Leaders focus on what they can give. Most people ask, what's in it for me? Leaders ask, what can I contribute? Most people wait for opportunities. Leaders create opportunities by creating value. Here's a truth that will transform how people treat you. Your value as a leader isn't determined by what you can take. It's determined by what you can give. It's measured by what you can contribute. Think about the last time someone helped you without expecting anything in return. Think about the last time someone added value to your life without asking for value back. How did that make you feel about them? How did that change how you treated them? Because here's what happens when you consistently create value first. People don't just respect you. They seek you out. They don't just appreciate you, they promote you. They don't just work with you, they invest in your success. But here's the challenge. Creating value first requires faith. It requires the confidence to give without the guarantee of getting back. It requires the security to contribute without the certainty of compensation. Are you willing to be that generous? Are you prepared to give your best even when there's no immediate return? Are you ready to create value even when there's no guarantee of recognition? Because that's what leaders do. That's why people treat them like leaders. Not because they demand value, but because they consistently create it. Not because they expect returns, but because they focus on contribution. The 10th behavior that makes people treat you like a leader is something so fundamental yet so rare. You must master the art of keeping your word to yourself. Everyone talks about keeping promises to others, but leadership begins with keeping promises to yourself. Because if you can't trust yourself, how can you expect others to trust you? If you think about the commitments you've made to yourself, the habits you said you'd develop, the standards you said you'd maintain, the boundaries you said you'd enforce, how many of those promises have you kept? Because here's the truth that most people never grasp. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your own trust in yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and don't do it, you damage your self-leadership. Every time you set a standard and fail to maintain it, you diminish your own authority. But here's what's even more profound. People can sense this. They can feel when someone has strong self-trust and when someone doesn't. They can tell when someone has personal integrity and when someone doesn't. Consider in every environment there are two types of people. The first type makes commitments easily but keeps them rarely. The second type makes commitments carefully but keeps them religiously. Which type do people treat like a leader? Because when you consistently keep your word to yourself, something remarkable happens. Your self-confidence becomes unshakable. Your presence becomes undeniable. Your impact becomes unstoppable. Not because you're perfect, but because you're trustworthy first to yourself, then to others. This brings us to the 11th behavior. You must master the art of strategic silence. Most people think leadership is about speaking up. But true leadership often requires knowing when to be silent. Not the silence of fear, not the silence of weakness, but the strategic silence that creates space for truth to emerge. Here's what most people don't understand about strategic silence. It's not passive. It's powerful. It's not about having nothing to say. It's about creating space for something important to be heard. Think about the last time you were in a meeting or conversation. Were you truly listening to understand, or were you just waiting for your turn to speak? Were you creating space for others to share their insights, or were you filling every silence with your voice? Because here's the truth. People don't just follow those who speak well. They follow those who listen well. They don't just respect those who have all the answers. They respect those who ask the right questions. Strategic silence means having the confidence to let others speak first. It means having the wisdom to let others discover solutions instead of always providing them. It means having the strength to let uncomfortable truth surface instead of rushing to fill every silence. But here's the challenge. Strategic silence requires tremendous self-control. It requires the discipline to hold back your opinions when others need to form their own. It requires the wisdom to know when your silence will speak louder than your words. This brings us to the 12th behavior. You must master the art of principled power. Most people think power corrupts, but the truth is, power reveals. It doesn't change who you are, it unveils who you've always been. It doesn't create your character, it exposes it. Here's what most people never understand about power. True power isn't about control over others. It's about control over yourself. It's not about making people do what you want. It's about doing what's right regardless of what others do. Think about the leaders you most respect. How do they use their power? Do they use it to elevate themselves, or do they use it to elevate others? Do they use it to protect their position, or do they use it to protect principles? Because here's the truth. People don't just follow power. They follow principled power. They don't just respect authority. They respect ethical authority. They don't just submit to position. They commit to purpose. But here's the challenge. Principled power often requires sacrificing personal gain for greater good. It requires choosing what's right over what's easy. It requires standing firm when standing alone. Are you ready for that kind of power? Are you prepared to make the hard choices that principled leadership demands? Are you willing to sacrifice personal comfort for organizational growth? This brings us to the 13th behavior. You must master the art of strategic forgiveness. Most people think leadership is about being tough, but true leadership often requires being tough enough to forgive. Not the forgiveness of weakness that overlooks accountability, but the strategic forgiveness that promotes growth and learning. Here's what most people don't understand about strategic forgiveness. It's not about forgetting mistakes. It's about learning from them. It's not about lowering standards. It's about raising people's ability to meet them. Think about the last time someone gave you a second chance. Not because you deserved it, but because they saw your potential to learn from the mistake. How did that change your commitment to them? How did that transform your dedication to growth? Because here's the truth. People don't just follow those who never make mistakes. They follow those who know how to handle mistakes. They don't just respect those who are perfect. They respect those who help others learn and grow from imperfection. Strategic forgiveness means knowing when to hold people accountable and when to help them learn. It means knowing how to maintain high standards while understanding that reaching those standards is a journey, not an event. But here's what makes this behavior so powerful. When you master strategic forgiveness, you create an environment where people aren't afraid to take initiative. They're not paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes. They're energized by the opportunity to learn and grow. Consider that every organization, there are two types of leaders. The first type creates an environment of fear where mistakes are punished. The second type creates an environment of growth where mistakes are transformed into learning opportunities. Which type do people naturally want to follow? Because when you master strategic forgiveness, something remarkable happens. People don't just work for you. They grow with you. They don't just follow your direction. They embrace your vision. They don't just do their jobs, they pursue excellence. The 14th behavior that makes people treat you like a leader is perhaps the most powerful of all. You must master the art of living your message. Not speaking your message, not teaching your message, living your message. Because people don't just listen to what you say, they watch how you live. They don't just hear your words, they observe your actions. They don't just notice your successes, they study your struggles. Here's what most people never grasp about leadership. Your most powerful message isn't what you tell others to do. It's what you actually do. Your most profound influence isn't in your words. It's in your daily choices. Your most lasting impact isn't in your presentations. It's in your presence. Think about the leaders who have most influenced your life. What made their impact so powerful? Was it their words alone? Or was it the alignment between their words and their actions? Was it their position? Or was it their authenticity? Because here's the truth. People don't just follow instructions. They follow examples. They don't just respect positions. They respect demonstrations. They don't just believe words. They believe behaviors. But here's the challenge. Living your message means no more gaps between what you say and what you do. No more teaching one thing and living another. No more expecting from others what you don't expect from yourself. Are you ready for that level of authenticity? Are you prepared to hold yourself to the same standards you hold others? Are you willing to be the living demonstration of everything you teach? Because that's what makes people treat you like a leader. Not your words, but your example. Not your position, but your authenticity. Not your authority, but your integrity. This brings us to the final, culminating behavior. You must master the art of continuous transformation. Most people think leadership is a destination, but true leadership is a journey of continuous transformation. It's not about reaching a certain level. It's about growing at every level. It's not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming better. Here's what most people don't understand about transformation. It never ends. The moment you think you've arrived is the moment you begin to decline. The moment you think you know enough is the moment you stop growing. The moment you think you're good enough is the moment you start falling behind. Think about all the behaviors we've discussed today. Taking absolute ownership, acting decisively, creating clarity in chaos, building trust through consistent character, elevating others, embracing productive discomfort, mastering strategic presence, demonstrating emotional intelligence, creating value before expecting value, keeping your word to yourself, practicing strategic silence, exercising principled power, implementing strategic forgiveness, living your message. Each one of these behaviors is not a box to check. It's a skill to master, not for a day, not for a week, but for a lifetime. Each one is not a destination to reach, but a path to walk. Each one is not a task to complete, but a transformation to undergo. But here's what makes this journey so powerful. As you master these behaviors, you don't just change what you do. You change who you are. You don't just improve your skills, you transform your character. You don't just enhance your capabilities. You elevate your presence. And as you transform, something remarkable happens. People don't just treat you like a leader. They become inspired to become leaders themselves. They don't just follow your direction. They follow your example. They don't just respect your position. They respect your journey. Consider this. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can continue as you are, doing what you've always done, getting the results you've always gotten. Or you can begin a journey of transformation that will change not just how others treat you, but who you become. The behaviors I've shared with you today aren't theoretical concepts. They're practical pathways to transformation. They're not just ideas to consider, they're actions to take. They're not just principles to understand. They're practices to master. Every person who's ever been treated as a leader started exactly where you are right now. They made a decision, they committed to a journey, they embraced transformation. The question isn't whether these behaviors work. History has proven they do. The question isn't whether you can learn them thousands before you have proven you can. The question is, are you ready to begin? Because here's the ultimate truth about leadership. It's not about being perfect. It's about being committed to growth. It's not about never failing. It's about always learning. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being willing to find them. As you leave here today, remember this. The world doesn't need more position holders. It needs more true leaders. It doesn't need more authority figures. It needs more authentic examples. It doesn't need more managers. It needs more transformational influences. You have everything you need to begin this journey. You have the behaviors that make people treat you like a leader. You have the understanding of how to implement them. You have the awareness of what needs to change. The only question that remains is, will you do it? Will you take these behaviors and turn them into habits? Will you take these principles and turn them into practices? Will you take these concepts and turn them into character? Because when you do, you won't have to ask people to treat you like a leader. Your presence will command it. Your actions will inspire it. Your character will ensure it. The journey begins now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect, but right now, in this moment, with your next decision, your next action, your next choice. The leader you're capable of becoming is waiting on the other side of your commitment to these behaviors. The influence you're capable of having is waiting on the other side of your dedication to this transformation. The only question is, are you ready to begin?